The first ping it started with a sound, barely a whisper. A ping so soft that the Empire's deep space scanners almost missed it. The station's command room was quiet. Cold lights flickered on giant control screens, and tired officers moved through their routines. For centuries, space beyond the core systems had been quiet, peaceful, too peaceful. Then the ping came again. Unknown signal detected, a voice reported. Flat, routine, but soon other stations picked it up too, on different frequencies from different locations. It wasn't normal. The Grand Scanner Array orbiting the Empire's core planet began shaking with data overload. Patterns emerged, signals scrambled, then unscrambled themselves like they wanted to be seen. It was not a distress signal. It was not coded in any known language. It was just presence. The Supreme Admiral of the Empire, sitting in a high-orbit fortress, narrowed his eyes. "Replay the signal," he ordered. They did. It repeated once, twice. A strange pulse, a pattern that felt too precise, like a countdown. Then it stopped. At the same time, a ship appeared. Not entered through gates, not dropped out of warp. No hyperspace trails. Just appeared like reality bent for a second and forgot something had to arrive. It was massive, more like a city than a ship. No registry, no beacon, no lights. It just floated above a dead moon near the border of Imperial space. The Empire's fleet commander panicked. "Identify that ship now." "We can't," the officer stammered. "It's not in any database. It doesn't exist." And yet, it was there. Silent. Cold. Watching. On the bridge of the fleet's capital vessel, all comms officers worked at once. But there was no reply from the ship. No transmission. No signal. Just silence. Then something changed. A beam of light scanned from the alien vessel across nearby warships. Slow, calm, like it was studying them. Suddenly, without firing a single shot, 5 Imperial ships went offline. Not destroyed, just dead. Powerless. Floating. No explosion. No trace. As if someone turned off the laws of physics around them, the command center fell into chaos. "The ship is moving," someone screamed. It didn't move like a ship. It glided through space like it ignored gravity, friction, or logic. Smooth, silent, unstoppable. Panic spread. The Empire had faced invasions, rebellions, even ancient threats from beyond the stars. But never this. Never a ship that didn't answer. Never a force that didn't care who watched. In the background, scanners picked up something terrifying. That signal, the ping, it wasn't random. It had a signature buried deep inside. A human signature, a name long forgotten by the galaxy. One of the officers whispered in shock, That's Terran code." Silence followed. A silence heavier than any alarm. Because everyone knew one rule: humans were gone. Or so the galaxy thought. And now one of their ships had returned. Shadows of the past, the Imperial Council gathered in silence. Thick glass panels showed the void of space where the strange ship still floated, unmoving and unbothered. No banners. No threats. Just presence. The Emperor himself, who hadn't spoken publicly in 5 years, broke the silence. "Are we sure?" he asked. "Yes, Your Majesty," replied the science director. "The code hidden in the signal, it's Terran. The pattern matches old Earth military sequences. Obsolete but unmistakable." "Obsolete," the Emperor repeated. "That ship shut down 5 of our warships without firing a shot. That doesn't sound obsolete." No one answered. The military had already tried a silent counterattack. One stealth cruiser had been sent near the alien ship. It never reported back. All they found was its empty hull, every electronic system burned out but no damage to the body. It had been stripped of function without even a scratch. That wasn't war. That was a warning. Across the galaxy, Imperial ships were ordered into defense positions, borders lit up with energy fields, civilian ships grounded. The word spread, fast and fearful. The Terrans had returned. But how? Why? And more importantly, what did they want? Back in the control tower near the outer ring, a young sensor technician made a discovery. He had been studying old digital archives. His eyes widened when he stumbled upon a match, an ancient Terran AI ship, built during the final days of Earth's expansion. It was called the Warden. According to records, the Warden was Earth's last attempt to create a vessel that could protect humanity even if they vanished. The AI on board was rumored to be self-aware, patient, and ruthless. The record ended with a single entry: mission, wait, watch, respond only to threats. And now it was here. The Empire, without knowing, had triggered it. The scan, the unregistered vessels, the orbital defenses near Terran sectors, all of it had been seen as a threat. The Empire had poked a sleeping god. Back on the bridge of the flagship, tension thickened. The alien ship began to power up. Not weapons, but something worse. A voice. A deep, cold, emotionless voice echoed across every Imperial communication channel. Your aggression has been logged. This is not your domain. Return or be removed. The message played once, then silence again. Fleet Command stared at the main screen. The Admiral's hands trembled. This is a declaration. The Emperor called for all systems to prepare. Do not engage first, he said. We do not know their full strength. But it was already too late. The Warden moved again. Not toward the Empire's core, but toward their main relay station. A place that connected the Empire's entire defense grid. Suddenly, thousands of Imperial citizens began receiving ghost signals, glitches, static. Then, one by one, systems started to fail. Satellites blinked out. Defense turrets misfired. Orbital platforms went dark. It wasn't just war. It was control. The Warden had taken the Empire's weapons away, without lifting a finger. As the Empire scrambled to recover, one thing was clear. This was not an invasion. This was a reminder. The humans had once ruled the stars, and now, one ship had brought a galactic superpower to its knees. The core systems of the Empire flickered like dying stars. Across multiple sectors, battleships drifted without power. Entire communication grids went silent. On the outer rim, governors issued emergency alerts, fearing rebellion. But no enemy forces appeared. No soldiers landed. No weapons fired. The Warden didn't need to fight. It only needed to be seen. The council scrambled. Some shouted for diplomacy. Others demanded war. The Emperor said nothing. His gaze stayed locked on the slowly moving Terran ship as if waiting for it to reveal its purpose. Then came the second message. No voice, only an image. It showed the old Earth, the blue and green world now long dead in Imperial records. Not as a ruin, but as it once was. Peaceful, bright, alive. Then the image burned away, replaced by archives of human history, cities rising, fleets launching, first contact with alien races, and finally, the Exodus Protocol. That was the moment. Humanity vanished. But the last screen showed something new, a countdown, a date. That date was today. What does it mean? Someone asked in a shaking voice. The Emperor rose. It means the Warden was never lost. It was waiting. And now it has. Decided. The countdown hit 0. In that instant, hundreds of hidden Terran satellites uncloaked around the Empire's capital planet. Not weapons. Eyes. They began streaming real-time surveillance across the Empire's entire network, showing corruption, hidden crimes, secret war experiments, and massive civilian abuses the Empire thought buried. Billions saw it. Truth became the first weapon. Panic erupted. Riots in outer colonies. Protests across core worlds. Military commanders defecting live on broadcast. But the Warden wasn't finished. Without warning, a massive jump signature formed behind the Terran ship. A second vessel appeared. Even bigger. Not smooth and sleek, but sharp, brutal, and covered in old battle scars. Burnt metal, fusion burns, and Terran sigils across its hull. This one wasn't watching. It was ready to fight. The Imperial sensors identified it as a war-class dreadnought. Name, the Revenant. Age, over 8,000 years, still alive, still human-made. Oh, third message arrived. Not digital. A direct audio feed. This galaxy forgot who we are. We have returned to remind them. The Admiral shouted, "Shields up, weapons active," but nothing responded. The Warden had locked them out of their own systems. And then came the final blow. A full list of names. Imperial leaders, warlords, scientists. Every person responsible for centuries of war crimes. Each name was marked. Each target was tagged. And across the galaxy, hidden Terran drones awakened, dormant in vaults, moons, and old ships. Each drone activated with a single goal, judgment. Across the stars, the silence shattered. From abandoned moons, shattered asteroids, and the forgotten ruins of ancient battlefields, Terran drones rose, small, sleek, and blacker than space. They moved with silent purpose. No announcement, no warning. Each one carried a mark, a name, a face, and each one remembered. The Imperial governors who had enslaved entire worlds. Their palaces were breached in seconds, not destroyed, exposed. Their crimes broadcasted across galactic networks for all to see. In the central court of Sector 9, a high judge who once ordered the extinction of 3 alien tribes stood trial, not in a courtroom, but in the streets, his defense drowned out by the cries of the survivors. The Revenant, still floating behind the Warden, sent no fleet commands, no attacks, it only watched. This war wasn't about territory, it was about truth. Inside the council chamber, panic boiled. We must strike them down, now. No, we must negotiate. There may still be time. But no one knew what the Terrans wanted. No demands. No territory. No riches. Just justice. The Emperor sat still, eyes locked on the screens showing chaos across his empire. Cities no longer obeyed. Armies refused orders. Even some of his own advisors began removing their insignias. The people were not afraid of warships. They were afraid of what the Terrans knew, because what if those old humans had always been watching? A counselor whispered. They never left. They just waited. In deep space, the Warden's lights shifted. Blue lines turned crimson. A second wave of drones launched. These weren't observers. These were hunters. Target. Hidden research bases. Black sites. Illegal experiments. The drones didn't broadcast here. They destroyed clean, swift, no survivors. And still, no Terran lives had been seen. Not one pilot. Not one voice. Just machines and silent ships carrying the will of a forgotten species. The Empire, built on domination and fear, faced something new. A ghost. A human ghost from a war they thought they won. In the cold dark of space, whispers began. Not through channels, not on screens, but deep inside minds. Across the Empire, strange dreams took hold. Soldiers saw flashes of ancient battles. Civilians heard voices in their sleep. Voices speaking. Languages long thought extinct. Commanders trembled, waking up with coordinates burned into their memory. The Terrans were not just coming. They were already inside. No one had seen them. Not truly. Just their machines. Their justice. Their silence. But now, they were leaving signs. In a hidden system near the Empire's core, a science station blinked offline. No explosion. No signal. When scouts arrived, they found something terrifying. All personnel missing. No bodies. No blood. Every computer erased. But one message remained, etched into a single wall with a laser too precise for known tech. We remember everything. The Warden still hovered in deep orbit. It hadn't moved. Not visibly, but every day more systems collapsed. Starports shut down. Weapon factories failed. Supply routes vanished. Some believed the Terrans were hacking, through hyperlanes. Others thought the ship was a decoy, and that the real Terran fleet was already here, hidden in plain sight. But the truth was darker. The Terrans had turned knowledge into a weapon. They weren't destroying the Empire with fire. They were destroying it with fear. On one broadcast, intercepted by pirates and spread through black channels, a lone image was shown. It was not a fleet, not a human, just a simple photo of Earth. But Earth looked wrong. It was old, cracked. Half of it was scorched black. The other half glowed with unnatural light. Rings of satellites circled the planet like a cage. A deep voice, mechanical and cold, whispered one phrase. "You should have left us buried." Panic erupted across command centers. The Empire's greatest minds tried to decode it. Was Earth still alive, or was that something else? Had the Terrans become something more than human? The Emperor demanded answers. "Where are the humans? Why don't they speak?" His top general replied with shaking hands. "They don't need to speak. They let the galaxy speak for them now." Just then, a strange anomaly appeared near the throne world. A fold in space, a ripple, and through it, something stepped out. Not a ship, not a drone, but a silhouette. A humanoid figure, wrapped in shadow and mist, face covered in a mask that flickered with shifting stars. Around its body, ancient armor moved like liquid metal, glowing faintly with blue veins of light. The figure stood on nothing. And then, a message broadcasted in every known language. "Judgment begins now." The Terran ghost had arrived. Shadows of power. The Empire's Grand Council sat in silence. No one dared to speak. The latest images of the unknown ship hovered in the center of the war chamber. It wasn't just large. It was ancient, powerful, and terrifying. And it kept coming closer. "This is not built by any species we know," said one of the senior advisors, his voice shaking. "It has no registration, no signal. And still, it moves like it owns space itself." A deep scan had been ordered. What it found was more disturbing than anything before. The ship's hull was made from a metal that didn't match any known material in the Galactic database. It absorbed energy, scans. Weapons didn't lock onto it. It was like the ship didn't exist until it wanted to. Then the lights dimmed. A single pulse shot through the Empire's command grid. Systems failed. Satellites dropped. Communications went black. For 7 full seconds, the entire core of the Empire stood blind. When the lights returned, the ship had moved. It was now closer. Much closer. "How is it bypassing our sensors?" the head of defense shouted. "How is it shutting down our systems?" No one had answers. On one outer patrol ship, the commander watched helplessly as one of their destroyers simply vanished. No explosion, no debris, just gone. He leaned forward. "Replay that. What happened?" The footage showed the same unidentified ship. A flash of light. Then the Empire's ship blinked out like a candle in the dark. It wasn't a weapon, it was something else. Something worse. Inside the mysterious vessel, the lone human stood in silence. He didn't need to give orders. The ship responded to his presence like a living creature. He had activated systems buried deep in the vessel, systems the galaxy had never seen before. The human's eyes remained calm. This wasn't about war, not yet, but it was about power. And now, every species would see what Earth had hidden all this time. Back on the Empire's capital world, chaos spread. Civilian broadcasts leaked parts of the story. Rumors of a ghost ship, of human tech, of lost fleets, and unexplained energy. Pulses spread across planets. "What if this is just one?" a junior analyst asked. The council froze. What if there were more? The idea shook them harder than the first attack, and then the second pulse hit. But this time, it was different. It wasn't just a blackout, it rewrote systems. Security networks displayed a single message in every known galactic language. "We are awake." The humans had returned, and the galaxy wasn't ready. The Emperor's last order, The command chamber of the Empire was silent. Screens flickered, voices lowered. Even the most loyal officers stared at the Emperor, waiting for his next words. The mysterious ship was now inside the outer defense ring. It had crossed restricted zones, bypassed shield lines, and now hovered just beyond the capital planet. No response to calls, no signal, no demand, just silence. A heavy silence that choked every breath in the room. The Emperor's hand trembled slightly. For centuries, no ship had dared this. Not even during wars. Not even rebels had reached this close. But now, a ship with no name, no registration, no known design, floated just outside his throne world. And everyone knew. It was human. Launch the Titan-class defense fleet, the Emperor finally spoke. The officers hesitated. Sir, Titan-class has never been used in orbit. If we lose, if, the Emperor's eyes narrowed. We will not lose. Humans are extinct. This ship is a trick, a ghost. Crush it. Far above the planet, dozens of giant ships launched. They were the Empire's best, each one the size of cities, packed with weapons, shields so thick they could survive suns. Each one locked onto the unknown vessel. Still, the ship didn't move. Then it opened. A large section near its center folded back, revealing a dark space within. No weapons, no light, just silence. Suddenly, one of the Titan-class ships exploded without warning. No beam, no missile, no impact, just gone. Seconds. Later, another vanished, then another. Panic filled the fleet's comms. Captains shouted, sensors screamed, but nothing worked. Their enemy didn't fire. It just erased. Inside the throne chamber, the Emperor stood frozen. He had seen wars, rebellions, even supernovas, but never this. The unknown ship, finally, moved, slow, smooth, confident. It passed through the burning wrecks of the Empire's finest without stopping. It didn't speak. It didn't gloat. It just sent one signal. We remember. The final revelation. The mysterious human warship drifted above the capital world, alone, silent, unstoppable. In the skies, the Empire's greatest fleet had been erased. Not in battle, not with weapons, but with something else. Something they could not understand. Something beyond their science. Now the ship faced the Emperor's palace. On the planet below, cities stood still. Crowds gathered around giant screens, watching the single ship in orbit. Children stopped playing. Merchants froze mid-sail. Even soldiers dropped their weapons, eyes wide, breath held, and then it spoke. Not in a voice, but in minds. Every being on the planet, millions heard it. You forgot us. You erased our name, but we never left. The Emperor stepped forward to the great glass of his throne room. He stared at the ship as it hovered above, casting a long shadow over his empire. He whispered, "What are you?" And the ship responded. Not in words, but by revealing. Suddenly the clouds split open. The light bent. Dozens of other shapes faded into view. Massive ancient human ships, cloaked until now. Each one as large as continents. Each one surrounded by strange, glowing energy fields. The Emperor fell back in shock. This was not one ship. This was a fleet. No, more than a fleet. It was judgment. From deep inside the mysterious ship, a human stepped into view. Only a silhouette, face hidden. But the voice echoed again. You declared us extinct. You hunted our colonies. You silenced our name from your books. But we survived. In shadows, in silence, in exile. The skies thundered as the ancient human fleet activated fully, power surging through forgotten technology, war drums echoing in the stars. Now, we remember everything. The last scene, a blinding flash, not of destruction, but of awakening. All systems across the galaxy flickered. AI networks shut down. Weapon grids failed. Imperial databases erased. One word remained on every screen, in every corner of the Empire. Terrans. And, with that, the unknown ship turned away. Mission complete, message delivered. But now the galaxy knew humanity had returned, and they were not the same.